Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a teeny bit different. It is a reality check for me. I chose this particular pattern by Steve Good because it had letters in it and I hadn't done any patterns of this type in a very long time. Now the idea was to do 2 panels out of 4 in today's video and finish this pattern on tonight's live stream. But as it happens, things changed, and as we progress into this video, you're going to see how and why they changed for me and what became a really neat project. I got quickly frustrated with it. I do have to remind myself every so often that I've only been doing this for 6 or 7 months. So I have to give myself a break. You're going to have off days, things are going to happen, and that's just the way it is with anything that you do in life. Can't get complacent, you just have to keep going. These letters, I was really excited when I started doing them. They were going extremely well. I was happy with it. I just seemed to have a good flow going. And while that was nice and all, I did have some warning signs of what was to come that I kind of ignored. I wanted to do this particular pattern in a stack mode because it would be nice to make 2 of the same thing because I know I can sell them both. And I opted not to, and I'm kind of glad I did it. I don't even remember what blade I used for this. I'm pretty sure it's the Ultra Reverse. And I think that was not to my advantage. But at any rate, I'll double check that and I'll have that information in the live stream tonight because the blade's still sitting in the saw. So I'll have a look at that and find out what I actually had. Tonight's live will not be a live scroll live. I want to discuss some things and how things have gone in the last 6 or 7 months, and just share some of my ups and downs and struggles and successes. I'm also wanting to try out a new OBS project program that I have for doing live streams, and I want to utilize that for my live scrolling, but I don't want to do that for the first time while I'm live scrolling because I can't focus on the new thing plus actually cutting. It doesn't work that way. This was the last letter that went well. I was getting pretty confident, almost overconfident at this point, thinking I can just buzz right through all this. And when I got to the letter G, I remember this from months ago, but I haven't done letters in so long, I forgot. And when I got to this part, there was a couple things I did. Number one, and I slowed it down here, I was not holding down the piece securely. The blade picked it up, and when I pushed the piece back down, it tore out the letter G. It ripped it right out, done. So, okay, in my mind, that's a fixable boo-boo. I can definitely fix that, and I'll show you how I do that. That's coming up. But, you know, I was a little annoyed. Of course I was. So what I ended up doing is I took it into my fix-up shop. I brought it into the house where I do all that kind of work. And I was able to actually get that back in there and get it secured. It took me a bit to get it out. But you can see how it tore up the wood pretty good. I did a number on it this time. So I had to fix this part first, so I didn't have a problem with the letter A. And I only need to hold it down with something for about 30 to 45 seconds, and the glue does hold it quite well. Ideally, I like to wait 24 hours for it to be totally secure, but I still had to put that G in, and that letter G had to slide in underneath that flap I just glued down, so I couldn't let that get too secured. Now I did put a piece of tape underneath this so that the glue didn't stick to my counter, and I did the same thing with the letter G, held it down for 30 seconds to a minute, and then I set this aside and let it dry till the next day, because I was already aggravated and frustrated at this point, and I didn't want to look at this again. I did put packing tape over the top, and I put packing tape on the other side to give it that much more stability for when I was ready to cut it. Now, that was just the first issue I ran into. I also ran into another issue. I'm already, my mind's not in the game, and that's coming up too. I thought I'd drill a new pilot hole because, the original one, I didn't want to go into the original one. So what do? I put it where it didn't belong. I thought it was a good idea to put it there. Well, that's the part that's going to stay on the pattern. So now I'm fixing that before I get back out in the shop. I filled it with glue. That wasn't as bad of a boo-boo as it could have been. So now going back to this G, because I glued everything, I didn't really have to follow my cut lines again because I'm sure the glue went across all of it. And as I was getting back to the part where I had the problem, I started feeling that lift up again. And you could even see it there. I'm like, that's going to be a problem. I'm either going to cut myself or I need to do something. So I got this piece of wood, which did help. But boy, that thing wanted to come out again. There was no doubt. It was definitely a weak point. But I was able to get the letter G cut out. It was a little messy, not perfect, but acceptable. So since I had 2 issues already, why not? Let's go for a third. Usually everything happens in 3s. The letter O went very well. I kind of went over the line a little bit. Wasn't real happy about that, but I got over it. Again, most people won't notice some of the discrepancies in the cuts. They just won't see it. The overall product will be just a good visual that goes unnoticed. I am a perfectionist, and I'm having a hard time with that part. I still want things to be perfect. I still want things to be, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The letter A is my next problem child. Here comes number 3. Again, I thought I had it. I was okay with this, but I had the wrong blade for doing these letters. The blade was too big. Here I thought the wood was gonna, the piece of wood I'm holding it down with, but when I get to this part right here, I blew out the center of the A. That needed to stay there. Once that happened, I was done. I was completely done with this project. It will be set aside. I might get back to it. I might not. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you tonight on the live stream. It's going to be different than what I've been doing. Would love to see you there. Take care and God bless.